So what we're going to talk about today is the 996 calipers on a coupe, Audi Coupe, B3, B4. They're all basically the same model, and the 996 calipers bolt on all the same way. So this is my coupe, and what we're going to talk about today is how I installed my 996 brakes on this coupe. All right, so we have a 996 caliper. We have a 323 by 30 rotor, which came off an S8. And on the back side, we have an RS2 caliper carrier, which we're going to discuss later. I'm going to take this off, except for taking off the caliper. I'm just going to hang it because I don't want to have to re-bleed the lines. Okay, so I took the parts off the car, and what we have here is we have an S8 323 by 30 rotor. We have an original RS2 caliper carrier, part number 8A as in Adam 0615125A. Now, Audi doesn't make this anymore, but you can get it from Apple. We've got two bolts. Now these are 70 millimeter. Okay, this is what they called for on the RS2, but you don't need them that long. You can get them about 60 millimeter. These are your standard G60 bolt that are used to hold on to G60 calipers. That's all the standard stuff. So over here, we got our caliper hanging. These are your two areas where the RS2 caliper carrier fits on. We're going to put on our RS2 carriers. Now, this happens to be an S2, ABY S2 hub carrier and hub. I got these years ago. You don't need to go to a 5-lug to do this brake setup. You can stay 4-lug, 17-inch wheel or whatever may fit, maybe a 16. But you can do 4-lug, and all you have to do is drill the rotor, and it'll work. So first we put on the carrier. Hey, one thing I forgot to mention before is I actually trimmed these bolts about 1 centimeter because I felt when they stuck out a little bit too far and I didn't want them to interfere with anything. One of the things I like about using the stock G60 bolts is they're serrated, and that makes it dig in. So anyway, we put on the carrier, and we're going to torque these bolts to 92 foot-pounds. Now, that used to be easier when I was younger. It's a little harder now. So, but I think we can get there. But I may have to get in front of the camera to do it. Can I get up in here? Nope, can't get up in there. So we're gonna have to do it the hard way. Like I said, I'm gonna get in front of the camera. Okay, so we got 92 foot-pounds. Got to put on the rotor. So you just hang it on the... That's the other thing. This isn't just a wheel hanger. You can hang your rotors on it too. Now this particular bolt here is off the front calipers of a Mark V GTI, or any front brake off. I just cut it shorter so it fit. Now that I got that figured out, we can do put these on the carrier. Okay, these get torqued to 62 foot-pounds. Not as heavy. You know, these bolts are 72 millimeters long. I might have mentioned that before. You can cut them down to about 60 and they'll still be long enough. I use what Porsche used on the RS2. I feel 72 millimeters is a little long. Yep. Like I said, these get torqued to 62 foot-pounds. Of course, these are a little easier. Now you can put the rest of it together. Oh, sorry about that. Got to take out my hanger. I like this hanger. Works pretty good. As long as you don't get hung up on the pin, you're okay. This hanger is adjustable. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned, and I should mention it now, is this brake hose. Now, when you go from the G60s to a 996, the stock hose isn't long enough. This happens to be 250 millimeters long. It is the rear hose off a coupe or a B3. So all you have to do is get that hose and it works just fine. Now we can put our inner pad in. Okay, so now all we have to do left is need to put our pad retainer in. This is your pin. It's got a hole right here. If you look at my other video about changing out these pads, you'll see it. Now, one of the things I did, if you look here closely, the rotor is slightly above the pad. Now, the proper thing to do would probably be to shim out the carrier just a little bit. I didn't really want to put anything between in there. I mean, I'd have to get some good material, probably 2 millimeters or so, and shape it to the carrier. Well, what I did, and what's lasted 20 years, is I just bent these little arms down a little bit. They were straight. I just bent them down a little bit because the first time I put these on and I spun the wheel, this part was scraping the top of the rotor. So anyway, I just bent them down and they seem to work okay. Now, one problem you got when you get old like me is pressing in this pad, the retainer, so you can get that clip across. You want to make sure it's fully seated. and then you can put your pin in. Okay, now I've stayed with this brake, 996 Boxster S caliper. I haven't gone to the 17Zs or the 18Zs. I like this. The rotor's small enough, 323 by 30. It fits underneath a 17-inch wheel. It fits underneath my BBS Admit guards or my Inky RPF ones. If I went bigger with a bigger rotor, I would have to get a bigger wheel. I like 17-inch wheels. The tires are cheaper. Everything weighs a little bit less. And I've had no problem stopping with these. Up at Tooling Motorsports, I was running around a track that had, I don't know, somewhere between 25 and 26 turns on it. The straightaway was 3/4 of a mile long. And I was running Carbotech A6 pads. I never had a problem stopping this car. And I never had any brake fade. On the street, I use Carbotech 1521s. So, these are my thoughts. This is what I did. You don't have to.